Boom.
Boom, boom, boom. We're on.
What's going on?
Oh, big, well, not big podcast. We got a lot to get through here, haven't we?
Christ, yeah. What a weekend of fights.
Yeah, great. Start with our boy Oban. UFC debut. He lit the media up, didn't he, pretty much from Tuesday, from the minute he got there.
Big buzz around him all week, really, wasn't
Yeah. When you consider he was like second fight the night on, and it's a big pay-per-view card, he had a lot of media attention. He was on the Awani show. Bisping was doing videos with him. Chael Sonnen sent him a message. It was pictures of him cropping up with all of the fighters, and he owned the week, didn't he? In terms of like getting there and putting your name out there, he nailed it. And then the fight itself, I know he probably would have liked to have got the finish, but I think it was a good showing from him because most people would have seen the fight, but he cracked the boy with an head kick, gave him a bit of a wobble.
I thought that was it. The second that landed, I thought, this is going to be a short
I literally, it was a double shout because I shouted, as if like he's got him, and then he's rushed in and the boys clipped him and put him down. But I could see as soon as he went down, I could see that he didn't put him down in terms of... I knew he still had wits about him. I could tell by looking at him. Recovered really well. Probably even in my opinion, won the round. Took the guys back for probably 4 minutes of the 5 minutes. Second round was pretty much a carbon copy of the first, minus the mad exchange. And then dominated the third as well. Spectacular little coming out party for him, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
The fight had a bit of excitement in terms of like the knockdowns. But he showed a good all-round game, I thought, against a tough guy like Val Woodburn. I know he lost that fight to Bo Nickel, but on short notice against a massive prospect. He's obviously got big power in his hands, and Oban kind of just dismantled him, really, didn't he? Dominated him from start to finish.
It looked like he would have won. If they did 5-10 rounds, he just would have dominated every round. It wouldn't have mattered, would it?
And I'll be honest, I think the next fight now we'll see an even better version of him, because I know... I don't want to see he is this confident character. He's very out there. He's got like this brash personality. But obviously it's a UFC debut, and he's worked so hard together that there's a lot of pressure riding on him. Whether he's come out and admitted it this week that he was shitting himself before the fight, but obviously it ain't always what people want to hear, is it? That you're nervous and you got butterflies before. But I guarantee you, he's feeling the pressure going in. I know you wouldn't have guessed it from the ring walk. He was playing up to the crowd and Bruce Buffer, but I guarantee he was feeling the pressure. And I think now that that's out the way, he obviously secured a win in the UFC, which means he's going to get another couple of fights for one. He's doubled his money, which is always great. But I think now that debut is out the way, the pressure kind of comes off him a little bit now. And that's kind of how I felt after my debut. I felt like after the first fight, the chains are off. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think the second fight he has now, whenever he has it, he'll look even better again. But he's been brilliant all week. Like you see now, he's on Ariel's show when was it, Monday? Then he's at WWE Raw. Now he's in Vegas. He's out there living the dream. And
I really like the fact that he opened up about his story, talked about it on Ariel, and I reckon like anyone who heard that, you're bound to be an instant fan, aren't you?
You gotta be. I mean, like his story is a mad. When you think about how mad his story actually is, like obviously his father passed him when he was young. His father being a fighter himself, and he's always kind of wanted to. I don't think live up to his father's expectations is probably the right word, but what I mean is his father was the one that put him and his brothers into kickboxing and boxing, and even though he passed, to like continue on doing what his father had got him into before he passed is inspiring us, and it's a brilliant story to think that he's come from like that little kid who lost his dad to now he's in the UFC with the tattoo, with his dad's flag. It's out, and like I think Ariel Owani mentioned it. We should probably start crediting Ariel because we talk about a lot of stuff that goes on his show, but he mentioned it, how can you not want him to do well when, he's been through all that. And like, he is a brash character, but he understands how the game works, and he understands that by talking the way he does, more people are going to watch him. Like, look, he's met CM Punk and Chael Sonnen, two of his biggest sort of heroes, if you want to call it. Yeah. It's just been a brilliant week for him. I think I bet he's still on cloud nine now. I've spoken to him once or twice via text. He's obviously not home yet, but I bet he's on top of the world, and rightly so. You know what I mean?
Did your old man stay out there then for a couple of days, or
No. Shakes is on the earliest flight home, but that's why I could never stay out there, because he always guilt trips me. He don't guilt trip me in, but that's why I think Oban went back to the arena to meet Chilson, and Shakes didn't go. He's like, I'm going to go back to the hotel and watch the fights. So he's your typical old school coach, my old man. He's not fazed by a lot. He doesn't like big cities. He's there, do his job, get the win, come home. But Oban's out there now, out in Vegas, living the dream. But what a debut for him.
Oh, definitely. He's come out of that with a lot of deserved hype on him, isn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
And going into his next one wouldn't surprise me if you see him against someone who's a little bit more well known, maybe not top 15 or something, but you'd probably be looking someone who's got a name.
Yeah, someone who, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, maybe I don't know, maybe if we look at maybe not a Tony Ferguson, I'm thinking maybe he goes the route of Paddy, perhaps he gets another contender series fighter, then you're looking at your Bobby Greens and your Jim Millers and stuff like that,
Jared Gordon, someone who people know, but it's not
saying, what am I talking about? Paddy's fucking lightweight. No, man's welterweight. Yeah, you know what I mean. Then I think they're not going to give him no gimmies, because there is no gimmies news. But I think that if they use their head, he's got a real good marketable character, and I think they can build him. And he does a good job of building himself anyway, Oban. And look how much. There would have been a lot of UFC fans who probably wouldn't have known him going into this fight unless they'd seen his wild fight on the Contender Series. But he done a really good job of drawing eyes and attention to himself, didn't he? So yeah, good on him. We're happy for him. Teammate, friend, been on the podcast a couple of times. So we'll probably get him back on when he's home and get him to talk about some of the mad stuff that's happened after the fight when he's been out there with his mates.
I've been half waiting, because I watched loads of Chaelson, and I've been half waiting for a video with Oban's name in the title. It's going to come one day soon.
It's coming. Chael took him. I think Chael ran the UFC, so they took him back to the hotel, and then they brought Oban back to the arena and took him up into a suite with Chael, and he sat there and watched a couple of fights and had a chat with him, and that's awesome at Chael as well, because I think Chaelson he's a massive star in America and even in the sport worldwide. So he could quite easily have had his picture and said, nice to meet you, Oban, kind of see you soon. But it was, from what I've heard Oban saying in his interviews, Chael couldn't give him enough time. He said that the Cejudo fight was on, and Oban's like, right, sorry, do you want to watch the fight? So I can, I don't want to interrupt your night. And he's like, no, I'd rather talk to you. And it's brilliant to see, obviously, Chael clicked on that he's been a massive inspiration, and Oban's a massive fan of his. So it's awesome to see someone of his caliber and his level of fame give back. Do you know what I mean? Because you don't always get it, and I understand why you don't always get it. You can't give your time to everyone, but it's clear to see that I think Chael understands the influence he's had on him, and it's awesome to see.
Yeah, definitely. Just a segue then. Merab Cejudo then, talking about that fight. That isn't how I seen it going. I don't know. I can't remember what our predictions were in the end. I think you had Merab, didn't you?
No, I think I picked Cejudo. Yeah. I think I thought. So this is what I was thinking going in. I did think that 3 rounds would favour Cejudo. I thought that his wrestling, being the pedigree of that, would allow him to defend some takedowns. But fucking hell, Merab, he's just the nickname the Machine. He couldn't be more fit, and he doesn't stop.
And did you see all the little taunts he was doing,
speaking to Mark Zuckerberg, kissing him on the back? And look, if you were getting an Olympic gold medalist up on your shoulder, walking him across the octagon and slamming him down in front of Mark Zuckerberg, then you're of some level. And I've seen rumours come out this week that Henry didn't have a great camp. He was carrying injuries. He did look really tired, Henry, which was surprising. Even after the first round, he looked really tight, and I didn't feel like I felt like that was his best round of the 3. But you gotta you can't take nothing away from Merab. Merab stuck it on him worse. That was a worse loss for Cejudo in terms of when you watch the fight back to what it was against Aljamain. The Aljamain fight, you could have argued. I thought Aljamain won, but you could have argued. So some people argued that Cejudo won. This fight, there was no one out there saying, Cejudo should have won that fight. And I think Henry will probably retire now. Will he look back and regret not staying in it for a little bit longer? To take 40, you heard Dana saying, to take sort of 4 years out in your prime is a bit of a mad move. But, you know, he had a kid and stuff like that, and been in combat sports since he was 5. Oh, we to tell him. You know what I mean? He's an Olympic gold medalist, 2-weight UFC champion. We to say, oh, you should have stayed. It's easy for us to say, it's easy for Dana to say, but he's not the one who's been bashing his body about for 20 years.
Crazy, isn't it? Because like you leave on pay-per-view points and all that, you come back, you're not cut in, are you? You're just going to be on like your basic contract. Not your basic contract. He's probably got a really good contract. I
seen on Instagram just now, apparently he only had 150k for the fight, which is kind of mad when you think of. Because say what you want about Henry, he is a cringe ball, but he brings in eyes, doesn't he? And he brings in views. So I would have liked to have fought against Aljo. He would have had some pay-per-view points. I don't know how it works though. Like, I really don't. But, you know, tough one really when you think of it. He went from being 2-weight, not undefeated, but long-time win streak champion, beat Mighty Mouse, who was the featherweight GOAT. The flyweight GOAT. Beat TJ, was the champion at the time. Beat Marias, and then kind of walked. Dominic Cruz, who was the bantamweight GOAT. Then walks away, and he come back now, and he's kind of like same old that you see with a lot of fighters who retire. You're going to retire on 2 losses.
You do look though. That is like when you look at the people he did beat though as the champion. They are kind of like going into the old guard now, almost, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They are definitely. But I mean, at the time, like we look at it, you got to look at it with perspective. Like at the time, he beat TJ, who was the current champion. He beat Marias, who was on a 5-fight knockout streak, would knocked out Aljo in part of that streak. Dominic Cruz was kind of a little bit of a mad one, but I think it was like a short notice thing. And Dominic Cruz is, you know, legend. But yeah, I mean, it's sad to see. I quite like Cejudo. I think he's a really good fighter. It's just not sad to see because Merab's a beast. It's not like he's lost to some nobody. You know, Merab will probably cause any bantamweight on the world problems, but machine. I don't know. His cardio is fucking nuts. Absolutely nuts.
I can see him being future champ for sure.
100%.
At some point, he's going to get that belt.
He's one of those guys, like, say he fights O'Malley, you would kind of look at that and think O'Malley's got to ping him in the first 2. What I will say, he does get tagged. He does get tagged a lot. And obviously, if O'Malley catches you clean, he tends to put you out. So you'd think O'Malley would have to catch him first or second round and put him to sleep because he's just going to keep coming, you know. But yeah, another good fight. I'm just trying to work my way through. Costa and Whittaker was insane. Everything we expected it to be.
Paulo Costa, like, you just need to get him to the octagon. I've heard loads of people say it, so I don't want to sound like I'm copying him. But it's so true. You get him in there and you guaranteed you're going to be watching an awesome fight, aren't you, every time?
He's such a fucking tough man because Whittaker is a beast. Absolute beast. Pieced him up for the most part of the fight. I can't understand really why there was a lot of controversy on the decision. I thought Whittaker won all 3 rounds. You could argue Costa with the first with a spin kick. But he smashed Costa's calf in within 3 minutes of the fight. And most people are changing stances. And Costa, being like the big machine he is, was just eating them up and coming back with fire of his own. But like you said, I think what Costa needs a little bit of consistency. Risk to say coming from me, I know I've just had a year off, but I think he needs, like you said, 2-3 fights a year. He said that he's injury free and that he wants to fight 2 times this year. And I think if you can get him active, you really start to see him coming in. Because again, he's lost, but you look at Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker's beat a who's who in the last 5-6 years. His only losses has been to Izzy and DDP, who were both champions. So
they aged pretty well, haven't they?
But great performance from him. Calf kicks were on point. His hands looked really good. His boxing looked phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, like you say, it was everything that we expected it to be, a bomb from start to finish.
I think I'm going to parrot what Mike Bisping said now. I think you should put Whittaker versus Strickland, Adesanya versus DDP, and then, like, whoever wins, then fights go on to face each other sort of thing. Yeah. Because they're all rematches after that point.
Yeah, and so, well, I don't know how true this is. I seen a little rumour online last night. Someone sent it to me that... So obviously you've got the UFC event in Saudi, haven't you, in June.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen this as well.
And someone said on their website, on the Riyadh season, is that the Saudis? Yeah.
Been leaked, isn't it?
On their website, it's got on the UFC event, Adesanya versus Chimaev has been leaked. So, you know, that's a bit of a... Obviously, we kind of thought, is he going to come and fight on UFC 300? That obviously looks like it's not going to happen now. So that would lead you to think, like, if that fight kind of becomes a number 1 contender fight for me, obviously.
That's more interesting than a title fight to me.
Yeah, I'm more interested in that than I would be in DDP against whoever.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
That's a big fight, and
it would make sense for that sort of card, wouldn't it? Because Saudi, there's not going to be money's not going to be an issue.
That's a tough fight for Izzy to come back to as well, coming off a loss, I think.
That may be the one that takes him out of the title picture, like being one fight away.
If Chimaev comes and ragdolls him down, I'm not that Izzy can't grapple, I don't want to sound disrespectful to Izzy's ground game, but obviously it'd just be like saying, if you told Chimaev he couldn't take him down, you're going to pick Izzy 100% of the time. But if Chimaev gets him down early, I think he puts him in serious trouble. Like, look what he did to Usman for the first round and a half, 2 rounds. And again, no disrespect to Izzy, but I think Usman's level of wrestling, you would argue, wouldn't you, is a lot higher than Izzy's. But we'll see. You can't count Izzy out. He is a champion. He's extremely high level striking. It's not going to be as easy as just go out and grab hold of him because of his movement. But if that fight's a number 1 contender fight, which would, like you say, line up probably Strickland versus Whittaker, which again is an interesting fight.
I imagine
you got Jared Khan here as well in the mix. I mean, he's coming off a win streak. He's got to get someone, isn't he? Perhaps he gets DDP next.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
Costa's sitting around, I suppose, but I doubt they'll. Jared Cannon here it feels to me as if he should be like in a number 1 contender or near a title, but he just unfortunately, it's like the name value thing, isn't it? Almost. He doesn't quite get the recognition he deserves.
No, he doesn't, and he's a fucking beast himself. That's a good, like that division now, the middleweight division is kind of wide open in terms of, look at the top 6 or 7. I feel like everyone in that top 6 or 7 is capable of beating anyone, minus Chimaev. I feel like Chimaev is going to be the
I think he's going to be champ.
I think the belt's going to jump about a little bit until he gets to Chimaev, and I think if he can sort out I don't think it's a cardio problem. I think it's he seems to suffer a lot of illness, doesn't he? Like the long COVID he had, and he was in hospital after his last fight with a chest illness.
Strange.
If he can sort that out, I just feel like he'll have that belt for as long as he wants it.
Yeah, I'd like to see him versus Whittaker, mind. I feel like that would be probably one of his toughest tests.
I think Whittaker, I think DDP is probably his toughest test, if I'm being honest, because of the style. I mean, DDP's a big physical guy. He can wrestle a bit. I think he's more likely to be able to stop a takedown or two. His cardio looked brilliant in his last fight. But I think everyone else, I just think if he gets him down early like he does, I just don't see where the fight goes.
What time are we on? Oh, no, 18 minutes. I thought it was like fucking half hour.
We're flying.
Main event? Or Ian Gary? We haven't talked about Ian Gary, have we?
Not the best fight to watch, really. He
did what he had to do, didn't he?
He did exactly what he had to do. It's not a knock on him, I don't suppose, like...
Going in there
to
with a lot
fight
of
someone
pressure.
like Jeff Neal, that is how you gotta fight them. Avoid the power, stay on the back foot, pick them apart. I don't think it was as dominant a performance as he maybe initially thought after the fight. I think it was I thought Gary won it. 2 rounds to 1, if not 3 rounds to 0. But I don't think it was like I don't want to sound like I'm slating the performance, because that's how you got to fight a guy. But I don't think it was a performance where you think, give that guy a number 1 contender shot now. It was the right performance. It was how he should have fought the fight. But obviously, he's looking at, like, he's calling out Kobe and stuff like that next. I just don't see that fight happening just yet. I think he's probably going to get a Sean Brady or a Wonder Boy. Maybe not a Wonder Boy, but I think Wonder Boy will probably fight Kobe. So I think a Sean Brady, a Shavkat, because I feel like Bilal is going to fight Leon. I think that's the type of fight he'll get next. But it was a good performance. Showed good wrestling defense. Jeff Neal kind of looked like he couldn't get going as well. And I think you got to give Gary credit for that, because I think he kind of staled him out. He couldn't get inside him. He couldn't find his way past the long limbs. And it kind of forced him to rush in and clinch, but he had no sort of answer for him in the clinch either. Yeah, no, it was, I think, like you say, he's probably going to be destined for something else, maybe like between 5 and 8 or something like that, and it now going forward. And he had a lot of stick off the crowd. He had a lot of stick off the fans at the press conference. But I feel like he did kind of handle it well. He didn't...
I think for me, like all his wife stuff, all that I think is fine. Like, as far as like, I don't criticize him for that. Like, everyone's got a past, everyone has done what they've done, whatever. But it's the stuff he says now which like cringes me out. It's the like, everyone's here to see me. Which,
Yeah.
like, they are there to a degree to see you.
Yeah.
And I get that, and they are fans, and they're tuning in, they want to see you fight. You've got a lot of hype behind your name. But also, like, they are there to see the main event.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you are right. I think he's leaning into the villain character a little bit now, so I kind of understand what he's doing. Like you said, there are some things he say that don't make sense. Like he was saying this week that, like, you know, Kobe will shut up and do what he's told, and it's like, well, you know, will he kind of thing, and you know,
it feels like he's reaching just a touch. But maybe that's what he needs to do to get it, mind. I don't know. Look, I'm not like
it's worked for him so far. You know, being the outlandish personality is worked for him so far. He's 6 or 7 fights into his career. He's into his UFC career. He's, apart from Usman, he's the only other fighter to do the first 7 fights undefeated. He's ranked probably 6 in the world now, and like you said, he's probably 1 big win, 2 big wins away from a title. So it's working for him. But like you said, some of the stuff he says, you do kind of think, oh, you know, was he said that for? But but like you said, I'm not like, his family and his business with his wife, that's his business. You know, it doesn't make a blind bit of difference to us. But like, yeah, I see where you're coming from with it. But in terms of skill-wise, he's good. And we've always said that, you know.
I actually like the majority of it. I like that's one little thing which I could pinpoint, which makes me like. Yeah. But the rest of it, I actually like him as a character. He seems like a decent person. I don't.
Same as, you know, like people get caught up in the UFC because you don't like their personality, you want to discredit their skills. It was happening with Kobe for years. Didn't like his personality. He's a shit fighter. He's not a shit fighter, is he? If he's a shit fighter, he wouldn't have took a prime Usman decision 5 times. He wouldn't have beat Masvidal, you know what I mean? But because we don't like his personality, we tend to say, he's not that good, he's just a wrestler, this and that. You've seen it throughout the divisions. Same with O'Malley, you know, he gets a lot of stick. He's dodging people because they don't like his personality, and he knocks out Aldo. So, like, McGregor had it for years. McGregor was hated on. People forget, as much as we loved him in the UK and Europe, the Americans hated McGregor. They're giving him these, and then he knocks out Aldo in 8 or 12 seconds. Yeah. So
you know, though, like anyone, right? Like me, I got my flaws, you got your flaws. If you're put up on this grand stage and there's millions of people watching you, you guarantee like 10%, 20% of them people, they're not going to vibe with how you are, who you are. It's just the way of the world, isn't it?
And look, there's certain things people do that I don't like, but at the end of the day, you know, Mayweather used to say, he's like, I don't care if you're watching because you want me to win or you're watching because you want me to lose, as long as you're paying to watch. And ultimately, that's what lines your pockets. Trying to think if we got anything else to touch on.
Main event.
I mean, what did you think?
I just think it was too soon. I'd hate to say that because, you know, that's kind of like a built-in excuse going into it. But I don't think he would have got knocked out that. Mind you, he's done it to everyone else he's fought. So you can't necessarily take it away. But I think maybe on another night we would have seen another couple of rounds.
I don't think it's that he wouldn't have. Like, I think if Topuria catches anyone, his boxing's so good, his power's so good. I think it was a bit soon for Volk to come back. He looked a bit, how can I put it? Volk, he looked a bit like cautious. His chin was coming up. He was lean. He was coming out the exchanges, you know, with his chin in the air as if like he didn't want to get it at all. And, you know, he didn't look to grapple. He didn't get his leg kicks going, which I thought he would. He threw a lot of left kicks to the body. I don't know if that was to try and neutralise the right hand to stop Topuria firing off that right. I thought he would have looked to low kick a lot more because Topuria got that heavy boxing stance and Volk's got really good kicks. He didn't look himself to me, but that's not to discredit Topuria. There was nothing fluky about it. There was no luck involved. He stalked him down and he picked his moment, and when he fired off, you know, he's a beast. He's an absolute beast. Where do we rank him in terms of featherweight? I think he's right up there with he's going to take some stock now. I think his toughest fight would be Holloway. I think everyone else he probably makes light work of it in a minute.
I think so as well. And Volk-wise, he's calling for that rematch. Like, I think just even 6 months. Just take 6 months, innit?
If not longer. If not longer. If I'm Volk, I'm looking at probably November, December. Yeah. Let's take 10, 11 months. Because you think now he's had 2 really bad knockout losses now. The Islam one was bad. This one was probably even worse. This one he was out. You know, like he didn't even know what he got caught with.
And they were worried about him as well, weren't they? It wasn't like
they were. You know, he was down a long time. He didn't get up off the stool for a long time. I think let's if I'm Volk's team, I'm saying let's look at the end of the year, maybe even next year.
Yeah.
I know he likes to be busy, but he's had 2 vicious knockout losses now in the space of 4 months, and I hate to see it because like I was saying this in the gym this morning. Volk to me is like the Aussies remind me of the Welsh. Like they got the banter, they got the crack. He's like a proper rugby boy. He's like one of the lads. So when he loses, it's as if one of the boys from the gym has lost. And got it for him, you know. I really want him to win because he's one of my favourite fighters. But what a performance from him to put. I think this is he's got 2.5 million followers. This is kind of like you're Dana talking already. Like, we go to Real Madrid. We go do it.
It's happening like
in Spain. I'm guessing that'll probably be the Holloway fight, which is because Holloway's a big enough start to carry that spot with him. But yeah, look, what a performance, what a shot. And you think he come into the UFC, man, Topuria, he's a grappler. He come into the UFC with 1 knockout and 7 submissions. And now I think in the UFC he's got 1 submission and 5 KO wins. So, you know, real elite level skill set, elite level boxing, elite level grappling, elite level wrestling. Tough fight for anyone. I would be very surprised as well to see him go up the lightweight for long.
Do you think? Yeah. He looks like he's quite big for the division, doesn't he?
He's short, but he's stocky and powerful. And when you carry punch power like that, you can kind of get away with going up the weight classes.
Yeah. I'd love to see him in Gaethje fight. I'd love to see... You just put Gaethje next to anyone, though. You'd love to see it.
You'd love to see Gaethje fight fucking...
Yeah.
I like to see Gaethje fight my neighbour in the garden. You know what I mean? He fight anyone this...
2025. What they say, Jack Shaw, Topuria, 2025.
You never know. We'll see. Hopefully we have a busy year. My fight have kind of got leaked out this week as well. Looks like we're off to Rio.
Yeah, look out.
Which is... I don't know how to feel about it at the minute. It's a dream location to fight in. It's just we're not going to do a lot of sightseeing out there, I don't imagine. But yeah, we'll get into that another time, I suppose, when it's all official and stuff. But I think the cat's out of the cat's out of the bag.
Cat's out of the bag.
Is that saying?
It does look like it. Yeah, well, you were like, oh, we're going to plan this video, this, and then all of a sudden, we
had all these grand plans of releasing it ourselves and doing this big video, and then next thing you know, the Brazilians caught wind of it. So yeah, we'll dive into that another time though. But yeah, massive card on the weekend, massive cards coming up. Obviously we'll get into them another time. But yeah, like, share, subscribe, guys, ring the bell. I think we're up to nearly 4,000 subscribers now, aren't we? So
something like that, yeah.
Let's keep pushing that. If you don't subscribe, please do. It helps us out. You know, I'd love for us to be close to 10,000 by the end of the year. Couple of fights, maybe boost the channel a little bit, and we'll see what happens. We've got tanked up t-shirts left. I think I checked yesterday, and we've got small, mediums, and extra larges. So if anyone wants one, get in touch with Joe.
Yeah, and something we haven't done for a while. If you've got any questions you want us to answer or whatever, just drop them onto the Instagram page and we'll ask them then.
Yeah, look, we're here now every Wednesday pretty much doing this type of thing. We have got a couple of guests hopefully lined up. Obviously, we're going to try and get Oban in.
If you'll have us now, if he'll have us, if he'll grace us with his time. My old man's going to come back on soon as well. I know everyone loves it when he comes on. So yeah, get some questions in and we'll get on the case. Boom.